Have you ever felt that pull to create something and then immediately shut it down? Not because you didn't want to, but because it felt unsafe in a way. Like there just wasn't space for it in your life. If you've ever felt that quiet, persistent pull to create, that whisper that there's more to life, you keep losing it in the noise of the daily routine, this might be the spark that you've been waiting for. Welcome to the Creative Resonance, where art, life, and wild expression collide. I'm Athena Rose, artist and creator, here to remind you that life is your canvas, and every choice you make is a brush stroke. Join me, and let's create something beautiful together. Week 1. Recovering a sense of safety. I had built a whole life outside of creativity because it felt safer. But when I finally started creating again, even just a little at the time, everything shifted. When we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's like the food pyramid. Safety is down at the bottom, and until safety happens, none of our higher level life functions want to occur. We'll walk you through the mindset behind the block, the practices to start breaking through, and how to take your first steps back to your creative self. Welcome to the Creative Resonance, a week-by-week journey through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Each episode will build on the last. The goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. This is week 1, recovering a sense of safety. We're building a creative life, one that fits you, not a career path, not a highlight reel, a way of living that actually makes space for your voice, your joy, and your truth. Every Monday, I'll be here with new insights and tools. And throughout the week, I'll be sharing community prompts over on Instagram at Athena Rose Art, so we can grow this creative circle together. Once we reach 500 subscribers on YouTube, we'll unlock the community tab so we can deepen this conversation in real time. If you've already watched the introduction episode, then you know morning pages and the artist's date are key to this journey. They'll stay with you for the whole 12 weeks and maybe even beyond. Mine have stayed with me for the last 2 years. When I don't feel them, it's like my brain has a constipation in a way, and it doesn't feel relieved till my thoughts have the chance to move on to paper. In this week, week 1, we're laying in a new rhythm, affirmations and blurts. This is a practice you can do at the end of your morning pages. On page 36 and 37, Julia talks about affirmations and blurts. You can create your own affirmation to practice every day. For example, I, Athena Rose, am a brilliant and prolific artist and creator. You write this affirmation 10 times. Listen for what pushes back. These are your blurts. The negative self-talk, the programming. Write these down too. These are just as important. These help us learn what stories are running the program and how we can shift those. So when you find these blurts coming up, write them down and reframe them. This practice isn't fluff, it's work. Your inside might fight it, but that's your blocked creative trying to hold on to its truth. This practice rewires old beliefs, builds internal safety, and creates space to believe something new. Even if you don't believe it yet, showing up to the page starts to change things. For example, when I was first writing affirmations, it felt ridiculous. I remember repeating, "I am a brilliant and prolific artist," and immediately thinking, who am I kidding? Who am I to think that? But I kept doing it, not because I believed it, but because something inside of me wanted to believe it. Months later, somebody I barely knew repeated the words back to me. "Wow, you're such a prolific artist." And then another, "You really are brilliant, aren't you?" The exact words that I had written in my journal were showing up in the world around me. Each one of those moments, my mind shot straight back to writing those affirmations over and over, and how those were programmed within me, and then to see them externally pinged me right back to that moment. This wasn't per se magic, it was repetition. It's connection. Rewiring happens when the new voice becomes more familiar than the old voice. You have to actively choose to make those changes. A lot of what we think is personal failure is actually inherited programming. The hesitation, the guilt, the avoidancy around creation, that's not our fault. It's conditioning. Julia Cameron calls this the shadow artist. It's the person who stays close to creativity but doesn't claim it because somewhere along the way, it didn't feel safe. She also introduces either or thinking. I can be creative or stable. I can be an artist or a good parent. That thinking keeps us stuck and it keeps us small. This week we start to challenge that by watching our thoughts, by naming our blurts, practicing differently, even if it's just a little bit at a time. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to begin noticing. Some of the beliefs that we're working through this week don't just come from our family, but they come from our culture. The idea that art is for the elite, that creativity is self-indulgent unless it serves a cause or that it sells, that there are real jobs and then there's everything else. But other thoughts are deeply personal, things that we were told directly. Why waste your time on that? You're too sensitive. You should probably focus on something more stable. When you start noticing that language in your own head, ask yourself, whose voice is this? Where did I hear it first? And is it actually true? A spiral moment, a real moment of pullback. A few weeks into this work, I remember hitting a wall. I'd been writing, showing up, feeling the momentum. Then suddenly, I didn't want to do any of it. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was hitting a layer of fear. And that's what the spiral looks like. Make a loop out, you expand into your creativity, and then you meet the resistance, the fear, and it shows up again, and then you spiral back around. You come back into safety. You gain confidence within your own truth again, and then you spiral back outwards with that confidence that you've grown and level up to the next level. This can also be seen like the 7 stages of grief, and we go through this process within each piece we create as well. The moments of resistance and fighting through, and then wanting to scrap it all, and after you fight through that and moving into, oh, I've actually got something good here, and then coming into the final product of it. Layers with the 7 stages of grief, as well as this spiral movement, kind of like in child development, where every 6 months or so they go through these ages and stages leaps where they come back to home for more safety, for more confidence from their family unit, and then they go out into the world and expand with these new confidences that they have grown. But then they come, once they're moving into that next level, they come back around in for safety and security to recognize that they are safe in these new skills that they have grown, and then they expand back out into the world and leveled up, more confident human being. That's what the spiral looks like. You make a loop, you expand, the resistance shows up again, maybe even stronger. But if you keep going, the spiral widens, and the dips don't take you out in the same way. The work you're doing here might feel small, but it's powerful. 10 minutes here, a sentence repeated, a quiet walk alone. Between the reading, journaling, artist state, and exercise, expect to spend around 10 hours a week here. But don't mistake small for insignificant. This is the week you start hearing yourself again. Here's what this week actually sets in motion. You start seeing your blocks clearly. By tracking blurts, you begin separating your old programming from your truths. You reclaim time. Waking up just 30 minutes earlier reclaims your relationship with attention and energy. Your whole day will shift. You stop performing and you start playing. The artist state restores creativity as something that's yours, not just output. You build rhythm, one that carries forward into next week and beyond. And by doing it here together, you have accountability and momentum of others to move you forward. This isn't about becoming someone new. This is about remembering who was always there, beneath the pressure, the noise, and the doubt. If you're doing the work and not feeling anything changing, good. That means you're in it. This isn't a transformation montage. It's slow cellular work. If your morning pages are angry, numb, or pointless, keep going. If an artist's state feels silly, go anyway. That resistance, that's the layer you're dissolving. Not by fighting with it, but by not letting it stop you. If you've made it this far, you've already started. Now the work is simple. Keep showing up. So, for this week, do your morning pages daily, add your affirmation, and track your blurts. Go on your artist state. No pressure, just presence. And stay curious about what comes up. But comment below. Let's have a conversation right here. What belief about creativity are you ready to unlearn? Your reflection may be shared on next week's episode. Follow me over on Instagram for prompts throughout the week and check-ins. Once we hit 500 subscribers here on YouTube, we'll unlock the community tab and dive more into community right here on YouTube. Share this with a friend so we can get even closer. Next Monday, we move into week 2, recovering a sense of identity. Until then, just keep coming back. You're not behind. You're right on time. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you felt that spark, that quiet, powerful pulse of inspiration, I'd love to hear your story. Share a comment, join our circle, and keep creating.